Thanks for stopping by, guys, and welcome back to Stormworks. I think it's finally time to officially start the battles. As I've had a few battles under my belt, we've had a chance to test some things, set up some rules, and now it's time to bring those battles public. And with that, I've actually started a Discord that will be down in the description. That is where we will be arranging and hosting most of these events. But for the sake of this video, not only do I want to pose the challenge for those of you that want to build your first tanks, to take them into combat and see how well they do, but we're going to be going over a few rules that we have for building and limitations and stuff. Because while this is meant to challenge people's designs, it's also meant to be kind of fair and fun, and Stormworks doesn't have the best balancing. So kind of going over the first set of rules, the builds do need to be in vanilla, no XML editing, and try and avoid as many glitches as possible. I understand some things aren't intentional, but things like infinite electricity are kind of going to be frowned upon for this. The whole point is to actually design and engineer and build, and whilst in previous games glitches were kind of the only way to do things, Stormworks fortunately does have other alternatives. The second rule being the vehicle must be built by you. You can't download something from the workshop, and all the components in the vehicle should also be built by you. I don't want to see targeting systems and stuff like that downloaded from the workshop. The goal of these battles is to actually challenge both the player and the engineering behind it. Now, as for the vehicles themselves, a few things to keep in mind. They should be land-based, whether that be wheeled, tracked, skis. If you want to take the challenge and make a walker, that will be acceptable, but no flyers, hovers, helicrafts, things like that. Another thing to keep in mind, we don't want to do anything with auto turrets. Whilst some things like guided missiles are understandable, there should be some level of player skill involved instead of just a radar picking up a target and start blasting away in that general direction. It wouldn't be as fun. A few things that will be banned for the events, and I actually do have a little bit of a trailer to show off some of those things, is pretty much anything that is HE except for Warheads. Warheads are the exception because they're kind of necessary for any sort of missile or launched system. However, when it comes to things like autocannons, battle cannons, the rocket launchers, the C4, those are all being banned because they have stupid amounts of damage they can put out in a massive blast radius that, in a lot of situations, deals more penetration than the armor penetration rounds do. So, as well as with that, we will be banning the mounted welder and the normal welder. There are some equipment as well that will be limited to how many we can have. For that, I have a little thing over here, which is you will get one water welder. That is for the limited weld time, so that way you can fix up a few things, but you can't literally bring a tank back from the dead with a water welder. Then a single fire extinguisher. If this runs out, your tank's burned down. One first aid kit. That way you can heal, but you don't have an infinite amount of health. And we will be allowing an armored vest for the occupants inside to give them some level of protection so they're not just one shot by a tank round, because that would be kind of boring and not as fun. With that, a few other things to keep in mind. For the rules of combat, we will be spawning at the train station and the airport like we have been, so vehicles will have to stay within confines to be able to be spawned at the train station. Meaning that for width-wise will be the biggest constraint. The Mark 24 is the widest tank you'll be able to build with a 17 width, and then the train station does have a 20 height and a 97 depth. That will be the confines of the building area. That way tanks can be spawned at either or for the sake of battle. Additionally, since it was brought up, things like trailers and ammo resupplies and ammo depots will be allowed, especially because of how hard it is to actually kill tanks sometimes. Having that extra ammo will be nice, and that extra fuel being able to be carried externally will also be nice. And with that, there will be one other rule, that being that during battles, boarding an enemy tank won't be allowed. Well, I know in a lot of our videos, we've kind of done that towards the end. Once the tank's dead, hop out, have the SMG or the pistol or whatever. But for the sake of actual combat, if the player dies inside the tank, tank is dead. If the tank dies from being destroyed and unable to be repaired, the tank is dead. If the tank burns out, tank is dead. But actually boarding and shooting your opponent with an SMG, probably not the way that battles will be going. So, with all that being said, this is it. This is the official start of all the tank battles. Discord will be down in the description. Keep those rules in mind. Vanilla builds, no XML, avoid glitches, must be built by yourself, must be land-based, no auto turrets, no HE, no boarding, trailers and such are allowed. The size constraints must fit inside the train station, and limitations for equipment are 1 water welder, 1 fire extinguisher, 1 med kit, and 1 armor. And with all that being said, I hope to see you all soon, and I hope to put you all to the test with the new tanks I'm developing. So with that being said, thanks for stopping by, thanks for sticking around, and until next time, peace.